Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your February 2021 general reading. We are looking at the first half of February from the 1st to the 15th. This reading is for the air sign of Aquarius. Welcome everyone. Thanks for being here, for tuning into the channel, for all your support, feedback, comments, donations, and hitting that like and share and subscribe button. All welcome. Thank you. So this reading is for the air sign of Aquarius for the first 2 weeks of February 2021. That's for Aquarius sun, moon, rising, if your Venus is in Aquarius, or if you're cross-watching for an Aquarian, it's all relevant. But of course, general reading, it'll resonate a little differently for everyone. So watch all of your signs, sun, moon, rising, and Venus, because they can each bring an additional insight and perspective. If you find that any of the readings do resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, take a deeper look at something, click on the description link below, that little arrow. You'll see my email address there. Feel free to email me directly, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to hear from you and most happy to work with you. I do offer a wide variety of readings in all areas of life, and I can usually respond with that information within the same day. And I do readings full-time. It's all that I do. So I'm pretty diligent about your schedule and my schedule to get personal readings set up as quickly as possible. And particularly popular still right now, although you can order them any time of the year, are the 6 and 12-month overviews I do, which take a look at what's kind of happening over the next 6 or 12 months in different areas of life. And you can order them any time of the year. People do, but a lot of people like to order them, at the end of one year, beginning of another. So something to keep in mind. But I do offer a lot of other different types of readings as well. Okay. Aquarius, let's see what the first half of February has in store for you. We begin with the Eight of Cups, followed by the Nine of Wands, the King of Pentacles, followed by the High Priestess, the Seven of Pentacles, with the Page of Cups. And from the bottom of the deck, overall energy for the first half of February is the Ten of Wands. So somebody's feeling overwhelmed. Burden needs to come to an end. It's probably been something that's been going on for quite some time. A person, place, situation, relationship. I mean, this is the tens represent cycle endings, full circle. A cycle coming to an end, or things coming to an achievement place where it either rests the way it is or you end something and move on to something else. The Ten of Wands is a burden. It's the cross that you've had to bear and probably have had to for quite some time. And it's a card that can represent really feeling tired, exhausted, overwhelmed, and just really wanting that to end or something coming to an end here. And really, 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 it feels like Aquarius, you really want something to end. You maybe daydream or fantasize about something coming to an end because it's not fulfilling, it's not exciting, it's not doing it for you. It may have started off to be something you thought was going to be great, but it's turned out to be something different, or it's run its course, which is what this Eight of Cups represents. Turning your back on that which you have been involved in or with, but it's no longer working for you, so you've turned your back on it. You're making up your mind to go on another journey. Even if you don't know exactly where your destination is. And what accompanies it is the Nine of Wands, which is that card sometimes called the Dark Night of the Soul. It represents somebody who's, depending on the deck, it usually represents a soldier or a knight or somebody who's been through a lot of battles and they just want to be done, right? They just want to be done with the whole thing, go home, put their feet up. You've run into yet another obstacle or challenge and you're feeling discouraged, feeling like you don't know if you want to give up or continue, just feeling I'm getting a sense of weariness, and really wanting to leave, really wanting something to be done and leave it behind. We have the King of Pentacles here, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, showing up as a male. Could be a female, though. This is a general reading. Somebody who's on top of their game, as kings and queens are. They've reached a balanced and mature control and perspective over the the energy element that's inherent in their suit. This is earth energy, which deals with things in the physical structure of our world, you know, money, finance, property, assets, job, etc. So somebody who probably does quite well in that day-to-day aspect of life. And it's somebody who's showing up as relevant to you in this situation for the first half of February. It might be a romantic partner, it might be a family member, I mean, it could be a work person. We'll clarify. And with it is the High Priestess, which is a card of somebody who's very connected to spirit. So they spend a lot of time being quiet and listening to what their intuition is telling them, and making decisions and actions based on that. And it's a card that represents trusting your intuition. And it's a good indicator here too, Aquarius, that whatever the situation is, you likely know what the answer is or what you need to do. Whether or not you might be willing to do it or not is another question, of course. But there is some indication here that you know what the answer is or what your course of action should be. We have the Seven of Pentacles here, which is a card of reflection and assessment, taking stock of what you have. You know, it represents, whether in a very physical way, like job or career or work or something like that. It can also represent relationships. It represents taking a look at what you have invested in something, your time, effort, love, money, energy, etc., and taking a look at what you've gained because of that. Has what you've gotten out of the situation matched the efforts that you put into it? If not, can you change it so it does? Can you tweak a few things? Should you just take what you can and go and start a new crop somewhere else? You know, it's a card of taking inventory and taking stock and making decisions based on that, because it's not the Ten of Pentacles, which would represent absolute long-term security and stability. It's the Seven of Pentacles, which represents that you have put a fair amount of work into it, but it's not the best crop that you could have. And do you need to make decisions about that? With the Seven of Pentacles is the Page of Cups, which is typically a little message from someone. Cups is governed by the element of water, which is emotional energy. It's a card that represents, I mean, if this was romantic, it would be like little flirtatious energy, little messages, little flirtatious things. But ultimately, it's emotional, it's messages, it's positive or uplifting in nature. How you doing? Are you doing all right? Can I help you with this? Sort of thing. There's obviously some situation here that you feel very overburdened with. I'm not sure what area of life it is in. We have Two Cups, Two Wands, Two Pentacles, no air energy yet, which is more mental, cerebral, so it could be any area of life. Let's take a look. Let's clarify the Ten of Wands. The Nine of Swords. I hate to see this card. Fear of an unknown future, obsessively thinking about something, and usually in the worst possible case scenario. This is usually a card that shows up when someone is in fear of the future, an unknown future. What am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if this doesn't happen? And thinking about it over and over and over again. Stress, anxiety, worry. Kind of like your worst possible fear is hijacking your rational mind, really interfering. And it's not to say that the source of your worries and concerns aren't valid, but the Nine of Swords represents thinking about it to such a degree that it becomes so big in your head that sometimes it doesn't even fit the reality of the situation. Trying to envision the outcome of an unwritten future, and it's almost always the worst possible outcome. So you can cut that energy down. But I think it's just because you feel so overwhelmed and burdened, because the next card is another Ten of Wands. So you have two Ten of Wands here, Aquarius. And typically when, repeating cards show up in a spread, especially clarifying each other, there's really a lot of energy in that. So the Ten of Wands, which already means carrying a heavy burden and needing this cycle to come to an end, I mean, it's really, really quite strong here. Let's clarify this Nine of Wands. Eight of Cups, Nine of Wands. The Five of Swords. winning a victory, but it's a hard victory. Sometimes this can represent needing to separate yourself from a person, place, situation, which technically represents a victory in that it puts you in a healthier space and it puts you on a path to a much healthier reality for yourself. But the doing of it can be very difficult, and it may mean sometimes letting go of certain people, separating yourself, leaving certain relationships with people that are toxic or exploitative or just drain you. Which, I mean, it's a victory. Technically, he's just finished a victory. His opponents are on the ground behind him. He's gathered up their weapons, which means he's taken away their ability to hurt him. And he's holding his own aloft in victory. But the colors are murky. He looks tired, worn out, exhausted. He's bleeding from a little cut on his forehead. This has not been easy. It's a victory, but he doesn't feel victorious. He just wants to kind of go home and take his armor off and put his feet up and have a beer. So it may mean that bringing this to an end may mean that you have to, cut yourself off from whatever it is that has become so burdensome, whether it's a relationship, because there is another person involved here, or whether it's maybe a toxic workplace, something of that sort. Let's clarify the King of Pentacles. Why is the King of Pentacles here? Two of Cups, the traditional soulmate, kindred spirit, best friend card. So this King of Pentacles is somebody that you're obviously very connected with, whether it's in a romantic way or just a best friend, kindred spirit way, somebody that's showing up as kind of as a karmic mate. Let's see what's next. The High Priestess. So you have the High Priestess twice as well. So this is an indication that you really know what the answer here is, Aquarius. You just may be like, it feels like you really know deep down what your course of action should be, but it's difficult. Let's clarify that High Priestess. What is it that your intuition is telling you about this connection? Death, a final ending. Yeah, this situation needs to come to an end. I mean, you have the Ten of Wands twice, whatever the situation is. And there's, outside of water, outside of air, there's a pretty fair mix of other elemental energy. So it could be in this relationship, could be about this relationship. It might just be that you're in a relationship or partnership with someone and this is going on in some other area of your life, but it does affect the relationship. But for many of you, it looks like the relationship itself has been there for quite some time, and it needs to come to an end, or it needs to undergo a complete and utter transformation, because you just can't keep going on feeling like this all of the time. It has to come to an end. Clarify the Page of Cups. It's like this little message of love, support, encouragement to help you kind of realistically take stock of where you are, what you've invested in it, what you need to do. I feel like it's sort of an offer of help or just support and encouragement. The Hierophant, the establishment, tradition. It might be support, because I feel like there's support or help here in taking a look at what you need to do, maybe on a very practical level, especially if you have to separate yourself, if you have to move, if you have to get a different job. The Hierophant can represent religion, churches, institutions, government bodies, county bodies, so it looks like there's help here for you to kind of take stock, take inventory, and figure out what you have to do in a very practical way. And I feel like you should take it. What it is going to vary. The Hierophant, for some of you, it might represent your church, some community organization, a government body, something like that. Yeah, so just to recap, Aquarius, a lot of burden. I think you've been dealing with it for quite some time. You just want it to end, and perhaps you want to leave, but the leaving is going to mean like separating yourself from something, someone, and that is difficult. It looks like it's centered around a relationship, romantic or kindred spirit relationship. It needs to come to an end like once and for all, or undergo a complete and utter transformation, but probably just come to an end. And you know this, but it's very difficult, and of course it would be. This is all about kind of taking a realistic look at what you've invested in this and what you can take away with you, if anything. And it looks like there's an offer of help in doing that. An external offer of help from some organization or some body of some kind. And I feel like you should take it. So I'm going to pull one or two final advice and guidance cards. What's the best way for Aquarius to navigate through this, or what should Aquarius focus on? Advice, guidance. Aquarius. The Seven of Cups. And the Devil. Okay. The Devil is toxic cycles that you find difficult to break free from. You know, there's an addictive quality to this. Temptations, vices, you know, like alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, shopping, workaholic, toxic, negative relationships, obsessive energy, things that were cycles that we're caught in, but we get something out of it because otherwise we wouldn't return to it over and over and over again, even though it's unhealthy. And the Seven of Cups is a card of being idealistic. And here it's a card, this is a combination of cards that represents, this is cautionary advice for you from Spirit, Aquarius. You know, the Seven of Cups is looking at only the most beautiful possible potential that there is. Each one of these cups represents potential, the most perfect outcome of a situation. It's a lovely card. We all need to dream, but it's not very realistic. It's daydreaming, building castles in the sky. And here it's part of a toxic cycle. So this is like being in a relationship, Aquarius, that, you know, you've devoted so much, you've given so much, and you get so little back. You end up leaving feeling depleted, exploited, taken advantage of, just tired. But you keep focusing on what it could be, seeing the potential of something and what it could be. And, you know, I've seen people waste years of their life doing this thing. You know, they just keep hoping that something will change, hoping for the best. And it's not that there's not, you know, honor and integrity and being optimistic and positive, but this is to a negative, toxic, dangerous element, you know, where you could waste years of your life in a situation that you keep telling yourself, oh, it could be this and it could be that, because you see the potential, but it never manifests in that. So this is about taking an honest look at things and making decisions. It looks like Spirit is strongly supporting you ending the situation once and for all and taking whatever help in doing that that is available to you. So Aquarius, that is your reading for the first half of February. I hope, you know, again, this is one of those that I can't say I hope you enjoyed it because it looks like a very challenging and difficult situation. But I hope that it's been useful to you at least, or, you know, provided some kind of insight. But I feel like it probably for many of you already validates what you already know here with the High Priestess ×2. So I hope it was helpful in that sense, Aquarius. Again, if you'd like to reach out for a personal reading or perhaps take a deeper look at a situation, feel free to email me directly at Maggie_McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. You can also get that contact info from clicking on the link below. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the February mid-month readings. Until then, stay safe and well. Be blessed. Hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.